Hey, familia, welcome to your healthy dose of spice. Today we're talking about carbs and blood pressure. So if this is the first time that you're joining me, thank you and welcome to the familia. My name is Dr. Alex and I am on a mission to transform healthcare and how it is delivered to you. So we're streaming to a couple different places. I've got my Instagram familia over here, and then I have LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter over here. So definitely, if you're stopping by, feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to give you a shout out. And so again, we're specifically talking about carbs and blood pressure today and how they're related. And maybe you have been told in the past, if you have high blood pressure, to do a low sodium diet or to do a DASH diet, they call it. And it's aimed to reduce sodium to reduce your blood pressure. But for a lot of people, just reducing sodium is not really going to fix anything for you. So I wanted to talk about the important role that carbs play, and specifically refined carbohydrates. We're going to talk about insulin resistance. We're going to talk about glucose, your kidneys. We're going to really get into it to the nitty gritty so I can explain exactly how this is all happening in your body, because we get a lot of advice, right? We get a lot of information, we get a lot of advice, but it doesn't really make sense until somebody explains what's actually happening in your body and explains it in a way that is going to make sense to you. So that's what I'm going to do today. So a lot of people who have diets that are high in carbohydrates, so refined carbs, right? Things that are coming from a box, a bag, a window, all of that, refined carbohydrates. These people develop something called insulin resistance. And that's where you have a lot of glucose and insulin floating around in your bloodstream. And the problem with this is that a lot of people have it. A lot of people are like this, but they just don't realize it. And so you have these high levels of insulin and blood sugar and sugar floating around in your blood. And this is highly inflammatory. So things are inflamed, things are angry. And when things are inflamed and angry, they don't work how they're supposed to work in a very simple way. Okay. And so we have all this inflammation. And one of the parts of our bodies that really helps to control our blood pressure is not really our heart, it's our kidneys. And our kidneys are highly vascular. They rely on so much on blood flow. Like they need blood flow. So like I come from critical care background, and we always regulated everything we did based on looking at the numbers to make sure that kidneys were getting perfused, because if your kidneys were not getting enough blood, you were not going anywhere. You were going to die. So we had to really make sure that the kidneys were getting perfused. So kidneys are so important. And so kidneys make hormones that regulate our blood pressure. I talked a little bit about that the other day. I made a quick little TikTok video about it. So we've got hormones that are regulating our blood pressure, and our kidneys also help to regulate fluid balance. So they filter out, right, the salt, the sodium, a lot of the toxins. They help with the electrolyte balance. There's lots of things. I'm not going to go into every single thing that a kidney does, but that's how the kidneys play such a huge role in your blood pressure. And so if you have high levels of inflammation and you have this highly vascular organ, if things are inflamed and angry, they're not going to be perfused very well. You're not going to be getting a lot of blood flow to that area. And if the kidneys can't get blood, then they're not going to be able to do the job of producing those hormones that you need for your blood pressure. And they're not going to do a good job of filtering out toxins and regulating fluid balance like salt. So salt, sodium is one of the biggest things that helps to regulate fluid balance in your body, along with potassium and magnesium and all those things. And so if you are not able to correct your fluid balance, then you're going to start to retain water. And so people will start to retain fluid. And so we might see swelling or edema, or you might feel very bloated. You might step on the scale and be a couple pounds heavier. Your wrists are like your rings and your bracelets might not be fitting how they're supposed to. You pull up your panties and they're all kind of tight. And that's because you're retaining fluid. So, and we think that it has everything to do with salt when it doesn't, because we can't regulate that fluid balance anymore. And all that extra fluid does damage to your heart. Your heart can't pump how it's supposed to pump. And all that extra fluid creates more volume in your body. And that is what raises your blood pressure. So it's the inflammation from all the insulin, from all the blood sugar. It's the inflammation not allowing the blood to flow through your kidneys so that your kidneys can filter it out, so that your kidneys can produce the hormones that they need to produce. You can't filter out the sodium, so you're retaining fluid. The hormones can't produce the hormones that they're supposed to produce to help control your blood pressure. So you've got all these things working against you just from those high levels of insulin and high levels of glucose from carbohydrates, from refined carbohydrates. And a lot of people don't ever explain blood pressure in that way, but that's really truly what's happening in your body. Your body seeks to maintain homeostasis. Your body wants to stay nice and even and chill. And your body's going to find every way to do that. Even if it has to negatively impact another part of you, is going to do that. And so that's all, the body's always seeking balance. So this is what it does. But when we talk about blood pressure, we focus so much on salt and on sodium. When you think about it, back in the day, what did they used to preserve everything with? Salt. And so salt really does not have anything to do with this. Our diets are so far removed from what it used to be. And so now our diets are very highly processed food, highly refined foods, refined carbohydrates. And that's changed. So our bodies have adapted to that and changed. And now most people are running around with so much insulin and so much glucose, hyperinsulinemia, too much insulin in your bloodstream, high levels of blood sugar, insulin resistance, because you are no longer sensitive to your own insulin anymore. And that is how you develop diabetes. My God. And like every person that we see that has high blood pressure usually has diabetes. And if they have diabetes, they usually have high blood pressure. They go hand in hand because all of these things are connected. So this is what the goal was today, to show you how carbohydrates play a huge role in maintaining your blood pressure. So if you are somebody who is wanting to get off of your blood pressure medications, lower your blood pressure, because you don't want a heart attack, you don't want a stroke. Because let me tell you, that's what's going to happen. You let uncontrolled hypertension, uncontrolled high blood pressure just run amok and not do anything about it, you're going to have a stroke. You're going to have a heart attack. And then where are you going to be? So those are very serious things. And I get very passionate about, excuse me, talking about this, because the whole reason behind what I do is because my dad passed away very young, very unexpectedly in his mid-50s because of uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled high blood pressure. He had a stroke, had a heart attack, made it through the first one, went to rehab, came back home, but didn't really change what he was doing, and had another one. And unfortunately, he had a blood clot that went to his brain from a stroke, and had a stroke, and that was it. And he was on life support, and then we had to pull the life support. I've taken care of thousands and thousands of patients in cardiac ICUs all over that this same scenario plays out every single day. But people aren't explaining the mechanics behind it, and doctors aren't taking the time to teach their patients about this. And there's all this shit all over Google and WebMD telling you all this crazy information when it's very simple. It's very simple. Refined carbohydrates, processed foods are not good for your body. One simple change that you can make, that I teach to so many people, is just changing the quality of the food that you consume. That can make such a difference for you. Don't matter if you're trying to be keto or low carb or high protein, whatever you're trying to do, just change the quality of the food that you're eating. That's the simplest, easiest thing that you can do. And it's what you're buying and bringing into your home. And this goes into the second thing that I teach a lot about, is environment. What are you bringing in? What's accessible to you? What are you surrounding yourself with? So the quality of food and bringing that into your home. Just simply doing that can set you up for so much more success than where you are right now if you're dealing with high blood pressure and diabetes, pre-diabetic, insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, all of those things. So again, keep in mind the quality of food that you're eating, the type of food that you're eating. And high blood pressure is just not about sodium. It really isn't. It is like the furthest thing from sodium. If you were to cut back salt and cut back fast food, you would have a decrease in your blood pressure, but only for a little bit. And we like that. Like doctors like seeing that, like, oh, hey, I put you on this low sodium diet and now your blood pressure is lower. Well, that's great. But is that person going to keep up with that? We like that because it's quick. It's instant gratification. It's the American way. Like, we got to have it now. And it'll have an impact on your blood sugar or on your blood pressure. But unless you maintain that, and unless you change how you're eating, the quality of food that you're bringing into your home, what you're surrounding yourself with, then that low blood pressure, then that lowering of your blood pressure ain't gonna last, ain't gonna stick around. And that's what we need to change our mindset around. It's not just a hit it and quit it, a quick fix. It's more for the long term, a lifestyle. Because you got a lot of living to do. Let me tell you, you got a lot of shit that you want to get done. You need to be around. You need to find things that are things doable for you for your lifetime. And so that's why I offer that 12-month concierge wellness program. If you're watching on Instagram, I'll put it in the link or in the comments so that you can see what it is. But a 12-month concierge wellness program, it's a whole year to reverse naturally diabetes, high blood pressure, metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, all of that. Get you off of pills, get you off of medications, get you better, get you on your way to living the rest of your life long, healthy, being alive, not being dependent on medications. Because let me tell you, traditional healthcare is just set up to keep you dependent on medications. I ain't about that. If you follow me, you know. I don't look like your traditional doctor, and I don't practice healthcare in a traditional way. Nothing about me is like that. So, all right, guys, I did see a couple comments come in from LinkedIn. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. Gerald, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Hello, hello. And Cherie, greetings. Hi, Beverly Hills. I don't think I've ever talked to anybody from Beverly Hills. Awesome. Oh, I really appreciate that, everybody. So thank you for tuning in. If you want to get a hold of me, it's very easy. Send me a message. Send me a direct message. They're always open. I'm always happy to make new connections with you. And if you're ready to get rid of the high blood pressure, the diabetes, reverse it all naturally, metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, let's go. Let's do it. You do not have time to waste. Every minute, every moment you waste, your body's under more attack, more damage from the insulin, from the inflammation, from the high blood pressure, from the stress, everything. It really is. Like, I don't even know how much I can stress that. Like, we all think we got 9 lives and we got all this time, but we really don't, because life changes in an instant. I have seen it so many times in the ICU, so many times. I just talked to so-and-so and now they're here with a huge heart attack and a huge stroke. Well, no shit. Your body doesn't decide to wait for the right time. Your body's going to do what it wants to do. We always think we got all this control. We really don't. We need to take care of what we have in the now and not wait, because the next moment is not promised. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. So thank you for joining for our healthy dose of spice. And as I always say, for a balanced life, just add spice. Take care.